We got sound now, right. Sorry, what happened before? I planned this, right. I put the mic in at 9 AM this morning. I plugged the mic in and I said, right, I'm leaving that in and I'm leaving it on, ready for Thursday Talks. Anyway, about 11 o'clock, I had to plug my phone in because I wanted to upload some pictures off my phone onto my computer for listing. So, in the process, I took the mic out. Anyway, enough of that. Sorry about that. That's a rookie mistake. I don't normally do that. Well, I do it, but every so often. I don't do it every week now, which is lucky. But, yeah, sorry about that, guys. So, anyway, at least someone put in the chat no sound pretty quickly. But, yeah, so, what was I saying? So, I'll have to repeat myself. Oh, you know what? The other week, I don't know whether I said this, but the other week, 3 weeks ago or something now, I recorded 3 videos without sound. 3 videos, and it took me like an hour or something to record those videos, and my mic was unplugged. No way of, obviously in that situation, a lot of YouTubers will be aware, unless you've got some sort of like backup microphone set up somehow, there's no way to have, you know, to actually edit that footage and get sound into it, unless you're doing a voiceover, but it just looks a bit crap when you're doing a voiceover on something that you already recorded. It just really doesn't match up. But yeah, so basically I did that 2 or 3 weeks ago as well. So that was, I had to then the next day record all that footage again. I thought, oh god, why do I do this? Anyway, you know what I need? I need a backup mic. I need it on OBS. I need to get another mic, hook it up to my computer permanently, and then have that as a backup. And then, I don't know how I do it on OBS, but I'm sure there's a way that when that mic is turned off, the other mic comes into play or something. There must be a way to do that. Because then that's an actual solution to the problem, rather than just, you know, everyone saying no sound in the chat or something, and I have to plug it in or whatever. So, and I might have rambled on for half an hour. So, we've got loads of people in the chat. We've got left-hand... I don't know why, but I was thinking that was left-handed hummingbird, but it's not. Left hand down a bit. Hi there. So is that another new person in the chat? Wow, it seems like every week now we get someone new. And Bumblebee, I think that's someone who's new to my live streams. Maybe been watching me for ages, I don't know. But obviously, this is the thing with live streams. You get to know your audience because, like, when you do pre-recorded videos, you don't know who's there. Like, these people who are new in the chat today, left hand down a bit, and Bumblebee, they might have been watching me for a year. I don't know, but they've not popped in the chat until now, so it's great to see those, well, seemingly new people, but actually maybe old subscribers or something, pop in the chat. You could just check with the chat before you go on a mad rant. I could do, yeah, I could do Hitman. God forbid ads repeat themselves. I know, aren't I terrible? I am probably the worst people. Whether it's a pre-recorded video or whether it's a live video, I repeat myself. I honestly, I can't help it. Like, sometimes I'll repeat something 3 times because I really want to, like, make people understand what I'm sort of communicating. Maybe that is something to do with self-doubt, I don't know, that maybe I don't feel like I'm communicating it well enough, so I have to repeat it. But no, I always repeat myself. It's terrible. And I do it, I've repeated myself 4 times or something before. But see what I mean? Even now, I'm starting to repeat myself about repeating myself. So I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, what I was saying when the mic was off was, what I wanted to do in this video is discuss in the chat and, you know, maybe suggest or tell you a few of the ideas that I found about where we can put our reselling profits. Now, please be aware, it's not me telling you you should do this. I'm just wanting an adult discussion about this topic. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. I'm not telling you, look, put your money into this or anything like that. I just thought this would be quite a good topic to cover, and we could all have a kind of adult debate and whether certain people feel like putting it in one investment is decent or whatever the case. But I wanted to open on this subject with, first off, stating that in realistic terms, there's no better, no greater return, really, that I found out there. And I've looked into loads of different investment options, but there's no better return, really, as far as I'm aware, than actually putting the money back into your business, especially with the profits that we get as resellers. Obviously, we're on much higher profit margins than, you know, some other businesses, you know, larger retail businesses. So because of that, obviously, reinvesting the money, if you reinvest £1 into something, you might be able to get £15 back the next week. So realistically, it is far better than any investment that I know of to reinvest your profit. So I did want to touch on that. I wanted to touch on, you know, what you do with your reselling profits, you know, i.e. reinvesting it, how you should go about reinvesting it, all that sort of stuff. And also we can touch on other investment options that are maybe less active income, because with reselling, you can put your profits back into the business, that's fine, you'll get a great return, however you've got to work for that return, opposed to maybe some other investment options that you can, you know, you might have to put a larger amount of money in, but you can just literally put the money in, forget about it. It may give you an annual return in the form of a dividend, or if we're talking about cryptocurrency, like Tom alluded to at the start of the chat, if you put it in a proof of stake coin, it will give you a return daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever. Or, you know, in terms of if you put it into crowd-funded property, and so on and so on. I could divulge loads of different investment options. But yeah, let's get on with the chat. Let's actually look in the chat before we get on to this too much. Oh, that's weird. The chat, the bar at the side of the chat isn't working properly, but I can still scroll. That's really weird. Count me out. Adult discussion, count me out. Oh, we can still have a bit of fun. You know my chats, they always end up in a bit of fun. I'm cool just trying to do some eBay, but stopped for ads. I'm cool just trying to do some eBay. But have to go out halfway through. Oh, right, okay. Hitman says, always got to stop and watch ads. I know everyone seems to say it. Like, everyone in my chat seems to say they're really annoyed when they miss me. Like, not miss me in the sense of, oh, you've gone away kind of thing. I mean, you know, after the chat, if they've missed the live stream, people will comment on my video, you know, on the video after it, and they'll say, damn, you know, I missed it. So it's always nice to have a community of people who actually care for what I have to say, and obviously come on here every week at 1 o'clock and we have a bit of a laugh. So, yeah, anyway, and we try and do, also, for new people coming on, we don't just have a laugh. There hopefully is some educational content in here as well. But yeah, we do have a laugh. You know, we're not robots. We actually have to have a laugh. Otherwise, obviously, it wouldn't be very good, would it, life, if you don't have a laugh? You could just check, oh, I've already read that. Oh, it looks like, invest in more electronic sockets, forge your own passwords. In more electronic, do you mean like the ones that, the sockets that you have attached to your wall? Or do you mean like, no, you don't mean cables, do you? You must mean the sockets attached to your... Yeah, that is a good idea. And also cables, you know, leading on from that. Invest in... I go through so many SCART leads and stuff when I'm testing VHS and selling them and stuff. So all these cables, yeah, that's a good one if you're reinvesting back into your business. Not only reinvesting into stock, but reinvesting into equipment as well. So that is there. That's actually a good one. Bit of an off-the-cuff one. Let me check up the chat. I think that's everyone in the chat. I'll have to go down a bit. Let's see. Hi all. Second day of full-time reselling. Enjoying the freedom. Yeah, it's funny when you just start full-time. Like I didn't ever have that really. It's a shame because I was always full-time. Like from the moment I found reselling, I knew that it was what I wanted to do. And obviously with having anxiety back then, or still having anxiety now, but having severe anxiety back then, I basically didn't, you know, I've told this story before, but I'll quickly illuminate to what happened again. I just didn't go into work. I completely quit work. I quit my college course, or my uni course rather, and I did reselling full time. So it was very different for me because it was kind of like, I loved reselling so much, and my anxiety was pushing me away from my work and my college, and then I kind of just got steered in the direction of reselling, like there was no other choice. So I didn't really have that first day of, you know, being full-time. I didn't have that first few days of thinking, yes, I'm full-time, because it was more of just like a blur, like it just like, it just like sort of manifested into being full-time, and then I slowly built the business obviously, and now I'm at a decent level. So yeah, and now I'm kind of evolving the business in different ways as well, moving away from eBay slightly, moving away from Amazon, and trying different, you know, different other things aside from just making my sole income on eBay and Amazon, because I do feel like as self-employed people, we don't necessarily need to tie ourselves down with just selling on eBay, just selling on Amazon. They're brilliant, and I love selling on those platforms, but because we're self-employed, that means we control our time. So it means we can branch off and do other things, whether that's earning money or investing money to earn money back in the future, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, so Tap Peddler says, my profits go back in the business right now as I grow it, and of course the bills. I reckon that would be incredibly tough, because I never had that when I first started, like the bills and stuff that you'll have. So that must be incredibly tough for you, you know, like trying to work out, right, I've got this money for bills, that needs to go out, so then I've got to think, right, that's got to go out, and that's probably going to be a large portion as it is. And then you've got to think, well, how am I going to get new stock, or how much money have I got per month to get new? That must be hard, because for me, I didn't have very few bills, so like I was just like, right, any money can just plow back in. And obviously I had like 500-600 quid or whatever it was from, you know, in my bank from the work, you know, from my part-time job, so I kind of funneled that in as well, and then kind of just built itself like that. But no, I didn't have the bills, so that must be very tough, because I always admire like Z and Beck, who, and anyone who does this, like, for me it was easy. I had the easiest time of setting up a business ever. And I remember when I was about 15, 16, I always used to say, oh, I want to set up a business, da da da. And my friend's mum and dad always used to say, well, now's the best time to do it, because you're living at home. You're living at home. It's best now, because if you fail, you've got somewhere to come back to. You've got kind of a shelter to come back to and build yourself up again, and then maybe go into employment, or maybe have another shot at business. So I kind of did that, and that's like the easiest. It's so easy because you're sheltered in terms of a monetary sense. So yeah, I always admire people like Z and Beck, and obviously yourself, Tap Peddler, and many other people in the groups who have done that, having all those bills to pay and then taking that leap to full time. I think those type of people, I'm not trying to belittle myself or make myself feel inferior in any way. I do feel like I'm a strong person. I do feel like I've kind of had quite a lot of challenges in my business, but I do feel like those type of people who are flung into it with that much kind of pressure, if you like, they are the ones who will, you know, really go for it, because if they can get over that first year or so, maybe first 2 years, they're going to be incredibly strong, having, you know, had to juggle the bills, house, maybe even if you've got kids as well, the business and reinvesting into the business. It's just incredible. I can't praise those people enough, or I don't know whether that's the right word, but I just really feel like a lot of respect. Yeah, I can't give enough respect to those people, because they're just so resilient and all that sort of stuff. And as I say, it's not me trying to belittle myself in any way, because I've had to battle through loads of different stuff, but I've been able to do it in an easier way because I've not had as many bills. I've not had, you know, the pressure of maybe being out on the street or something at the end of the day. You know, so it's always been a little bit easier in that respect. And it does make me think, you know, when I've got my own house and these problems arise, will I be under a lot, well, I will be under more pressure, but how will that impact me as a person? And it's something I do think about from time to time, but I hope that by that time, you know, obviously if I get enough of a deposit down on a house, then that's going to be a great stepping stone. You know, getting a nice big deposit down on a house will mean that that's a, you know, I'd say a great stepping stone to alleviating some of that pressure, especially with the mortgage, when the mortgage is concerned. So yeah, I think that it's just, anyway, I won't repeat. I'm getting into that territory of repeating myself now. So, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is it's just brilliant, you know, the people who can do that. But anyway, I won't repeat myself anymore. I try to make 1 million in 10 years. Shooting for the moon is okay. We'll land among the stars. That is a great saying, Hitman. I used to say that all the time. Shoot for the moon, you'll land among the stars. You know how much I'm aiming for? I'm not aiming for 1 million. I'm aiming for 100,000. I'll tell you why I'm aiming for 100,000. You might think, there's no way you can live off that. Da 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 da. You're right. You can't. It's very, very hard to live off 100,000. Like, I mean, in terms of an investment that gives you a passive income from the 100,000, 5 or 6% maybe. You know, 5 or 6 grand a year. But if I get to 100,000 and I can put that away, and I can put that into an investment that's, let's say, a medium risk investment. Maybe I split it among a few different things, actually. I wouldn't put the 100 grand in one thing. But let's say I split it over 5 things, each putting 20 grand into each, right? And maybe the lowest amount percentage back I'm getting is 2%. The highest is, let's say, 8 to 10% being a high risk investment. Maybe the mean, you know, the average kind of thing is like 5, 6%, something like that. Then that's 5 or 6 grand. That's £500 a month that I can put to my bill. That's a mortgage payment, for God's sake. If I've got, if I've got a decent house, 500 quid would cover, if it's not a really extravagant house, but it's a fair house, fair size house, decent house, that would probably cover my mortgage as far as I'm aware. I mean, might be a little bit less than my mortgage, but around that. So you think 100,000, if you get that in investments, you don't have to work as hard. Your mortgage payment is gone, right, great, you only need to earn 10 grand of net profit with your reselling, because that'll take you up to, 15, 16k. You've got a partner as well that earns, similar. It's not so bad, you can survive on that. Now, that is coming from a point of survival, not as from a point of let's shoot from the moon. I have associated, I've been doing counselling, as you are fully aware, over the past few weeks, and I've associated within this counselling that I tend to try for the biggest goals first, and I'm an all or nothing type, of person. My personality is geared towards all or nothing, so I want loads of money or I don't want any money. So I'm trying to think conservatively now. I'm trying to think, right, what's achievable? How can I get to a place where I'm getting some sort of income back, and it's an achievable goal, it's an achievable level to attain. Some people may say 100,000 isn't achievable. That's their prerogative. If they want to say that, then that's fine. For me personally, I feel it is over a period of time. But I'm trying to take a step back, and then once I've got to that goal, I can then think, right, where do I take it from now? But at the moment, I want to be focused on alleviating the active income I've got to put in. So active income is like reselling, where you have to actively be working to get an income. Passive income is where you can put some money into an investment and it gives you money, and all you have to do is withdraw it to your bank, basically. So I'm going to want to get to the point where I've got like 100 grand, and then I can alleviate the pressure from my active income. I don't have to be striving loads and loads and working my socks off in that area, because the passive income, the small amount of passive income I'm getting, is substituting that. Then when I get to that point, I can think to myself, right, where do I want to take this from now, so that then I can get to a place of building up my investments more, so that then I can increase that level of passive income, decrease that level of active income, and slowly over 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years, it really doesn't matter, however long it takes, you then become, you've worked smart essentially for your entire life, because by the time you're 30, 40, 50, whatever the age, you then don't have to work for your money, and you've made your money work for you. You see how it works? So it's about playing life. It's about, for me personally, it's like playing life like a game. And the way you do that is by having a balanced investment portfolio, having low risk things, having medium risk things, having high risk things, and then having your active income as well on top of that. Because if you always have an active income source, even if you can earn loads of money passively, I'd still recommend you keep that active income source open, because for one, you never know when those investments are going to collapse. You really don't. And for two, you can predict, of course, but you don't exactly know a date or anything like that. One of them could fall down, especially if it's high risk one. But if you've got that active income source, you can then be ploughing even more money into your investments to make even more passive income. And that isn't even, you know, even referring to if you've got those in stocks or something like that, the price appreciation over time. Of course, it can depreciate, but if you picked a good stock, it's going to appreciate. And then obviously that's going to mean your dividends are going to increase as well, because dividends are a percentage yield of the stock price. So the stock price increases, the dividends increase. So yeah, anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at with my thinking behind investments. I'm not trying to think to myself, right, I'm going to go for $1 million, 5 million, whatever. I'm starting, right, I'm going to get to here. If I get to here, I'll then move on. But I think it's more with me about just alleviate, and it is with so many people, about alleviating that pressure of your active income a little bit, just so that then you don't feel like you have to grind it out all the time, and it gives you a little bit more of a sense of, right, well, I don't have to do this as hard, I don't have to work on this as hard as I was doing, so now I can think, right, what do I want to do aside from my business? You can then start to fulfill personal goals. So whether that to you is traveling the world, going to different countries, whether that to you is doing more exercise or learning a new language or whatever, that's the brilliance that you know, getting to this point can give you. As I say, I'm not saying it's easy, but for me personally, I feel it is achievable. But yeah, so we will check the chat because I've really not been looking. Sparrow's End is in there. Hi there, Mel. Who else is in there? I think that's everyone, is it? Yeah. Trying to list, but these lives are always distracting. I thought you meant lives as in lives then, as in other people's lives, but you mean the live streams. Anyway, I save and invest in a wide variety of ways with different levels of risk. My eggs are in lots of baskets. That's, well, I wouldn't say that's the same as me. So I think what we're moving on to now, let's say, is ways to invest your money. So let's get in the chat. What, you know, if you want to disclose the ways that you invest, you can do that. If you don't want to disclose the ways you invest, but you'd like to maybe suggest some ways of investing your money, feel free, disclose that in the chat now. I'll talk about a few of the ways that I've found, a few of the ways that I have always wanted to invest, because when I was a lot younger, I always wanted to invest in things. I wanted to, I did this 2 or 3 times. I bought websites and they completely failed because I didn't have a clue what I was doing when I was 14, and then again when I was 19. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, completely failed, lost a lot of money in them. I think one I lost 600 quid, another one I lost 120 quid. The 120 quid was of my mum and dad's money. Actually, let me tell you how much money I have lost, right? This is so good, right? Well, it's not good, but right, I've made more than I have lost over the years since I was about 12 or 13. And the money between about 12 and 17 I got from my parents, so I lost a bit of my parents' money. Not loads, but, well, it depends on how much you define as loads, but probably a good couple of hundred quid or more of my mum and dad's money. But I lost, so in terms of cryptocurrency, first off, I lost money when I first entered the crypto space. I was like a magpie to these shiny sites called HIAP sites, which are high yield interest platforms. Now, most of these, if not all of these, I later discovered are scams. But because I was so, I'm intelligent, but I don't have any common sense. I've discussed that before. So when I see the fact that you can get 1% a day on your money, I think, oh yeah, isn't that brilliant? I'll retire. So I put 600 quid into one called, what was it called now? Oh, I forgot what it was called. Anyway, I'm really annoyed now because I wanted to tell you what that was called. I don't know what it was called. Anyway, it had like a little logo with like a little pie chart on it or something. Anyway, but it was a high yield interest platform, and you're meant to get 1% a day. I put 600 quid into that, and it closed down within about 40-50 days. I then put a large amount of money, about £2,000 to £3,000, in a site, an infamous site, that I actually still get a smile about talking about, because it's such a big thing now. It's like this legendary thing that everyone talks about, the rise and fall of it. And that was BitConnect. So obviously you will have heard of BitConnect because I've talked about it on this channel. I put 2 to 3k in BitConnect. Oh, that was it. Was it Capital? No, it's gone again. It's gone again. The other thing of the other site. No, it's gone. It was something like not Capital Finance. Something like, it began with a C. I'm pretty sure it began with a C. But anyway, I put 2 to 3 grand in BitConnect. I got in at like July sort of time. So I was lucky because I was reinvesting alongside taking out. If you don't know, BitConnect, basically you put money in and then you get 1% a day out. And it was basically a Ponzi scheme, or a lot of people say it was a Ponzi scheme. And essentially, they would give the new investors, the old investors, money or something like that, and then it collapses in on itself. So I was in that for 5 months, and I was taking money out as well as putting money in and all that sort of stuff, and reinvesting and stuff. And I got basically all my initial investment out about 2 weeks before it collapsed. And then what I did was I had a load of money in ARK, which is a cryptocurrency, quite, a fairly well respected cryptocurrency, not a scam or anything like that. And I had quite a lot of money in that. This was in January when the bubble had popped, basically. Well, it was on its way to crashing. And I then decided, right, I'm going to sell that. So I sold that and got everything out, completely panic sold, and got my money out. And then it was 6 weeks. 6 weeks went by, and my mum said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're out of that cryptocurrency thing," because she doesn't like it. But then I couldn't help myself. These prices were going down, and I was thinking, hey, hang on a minute. I've been investing in completely the wrong way. I've been buying on the way up, which isn't so bad, but I've been like buying on the way up and buying at the peak, when actually I've done it the completely wrong way. I should have been buying right now when it's really low, and then riding it up and then selling at the peak, because again, I have no common sense, so I didn't think to do that. But anyway, now I know I'm a lot more astute as an investor because I've lost a lot of money. And then basically I learnt about this thing called Steem and Steemit, which is a first decentralized cryptocurrency blogging platform. So it's like Facebook, but you get paid for it. Been around for over 2 years now. Well-respected project in the crypto space. Not a scam at all, anything like that. And I invested slowly a fair bit of money in that. And then recently, over the last 4 or 5 months, I've been buying Neo, I've been buying a few other more speculative plays in the cryptocurrency space. But now I understand a lot more about market cycles. I understand, I'm not brilliant at reading charts or anything like that, but I know how to read charts in a somewhat abstract way. I can do certain bits and bobs, like I can do support and resistance and stuff. But yeah, it was quite odd because last December I thought I had a lot of money, in BitConnect and in other things, in other crypto stuff. And you think you've got a lot of money, and I thought, oh my god, I've got like 10k in these things, and I did like have 10k in these things, or seemingly I thought I did. And yeah, and then the bubble pops, BitConnect goes down, everything crashes, blackest day of my life, pretty much. I managed to get my money out, as I say, and then I go through the whole process and I buy Steem and all that. So I lost a lot of money in crypto. I've since kind of got back to break even, or maybe a little bit of profit if you call it profit, but I've not actually sold them, so you can't really call it profit. But now I'm in such a good position for when we get the next bull run, because I'm going to make a lot of money in the next bull run, hopefully. So with that being said, that's when crypto. I've lost money in websites. I lost, what else have I lost money in? Anyway, I've lost money in a lot of things. That's all you need to know. But the brilliant thing is, when you are investing, you start to think, as you, over the years, as you get a little bit more better at it, and you think, right, hang on a minute, I'm getting a little bit of money now. where should I put it, that sort of stuff. I think that now I'm in a better place in terms of diversifying, because that's something I didn't do at the start. I was like, right, I'm just going to pile loads of money into this one investment. Now I understand the importance of diversifying massively. I understand, you know, the fact, like, now I've got my Lego investments. That's something I started doing last year because I wanted to balance out the crypto, and it worked pretty well. But now, you know, I'm looking at things like, basically, I'm going to use crypto as a springboard, and then the money I make from that, and hopefully I'm going to be putting into things like music royalties. So basically there's a site called Royalty Exchange where you can buy the rights to a song for 10 grand, 20 grand, so it's big money investing, and you then get passive income from the royalties every year for a certain amount, you know, for a certain amount of time. So generally it could be like 50, 60, 70 years. And then there's other things like rate setter, peer-to-peer lending. There's also, you can invest in property, you can invest in crowd-funded property, you can invest in things like crowdfund, which is equity investing, so you invest in the equity of businesses. Oh my god, there's tons and tons. You can go in the stock market, you can do contracts for difference, which is basically the stock market, but you don't actually own the shares, you're just like kind of betting on whether they go up and down, with Pulse 500 obviously. There's so much out there. And obviously Lego investing is a big one. I'm a big advocate of that. I think it's brilliant, especially because you hold the products yourself and you're not, you know, you've got a physical product for your money. I always like that kind of concept. You've got things like, things that people don't necessarily talk about as much, which is investing in silver and gold, but physically investing it. A lot of people will say, oh, well, do you want to buy gold or whatever as a commodity, you know, on something like plus 500, but not as many people talk about actually physically buying silver and gold and investing it. But what I've found is when you're on the bullion websites, they charge too much. They like charge over scrap. So what you want to do is invest in it maybe at auction level. If you can get, you know, if you go to an auction, your nice little job lot of silver there, you can get it for just below scrap or about scrap value, and then you can just put it away for 10 years or whatever, essentially betting on the price, whether the price is going up or down. You can do the same with gold. You can buy it from car boots if you can find it, but it's a big if you can find it. But yeah, there's all these, again, coin collecting, banknote collecting, that's an investment. A lot of people say coin collecting and they think, oh, well, it's a hobby. It is a hobby, however, it can be quite lucrative if you know what you're doing. And same with banknote investing, can be very, very lucrative if you know what you're doing. £50 notes from the 60s and 70s. Now, I've talked about this before. £50 notes from the 60s and 70s. That sort of, you know, JB Page, that sort of area, you know, Chief Cashier JB Page. They're good money now. They're way over face value if you're in uncirculated condition. So yeah, okay, you're waiting 30 or 40 years on that side of investing. However, it's still an option, you know. So there's all these different things that you can do. The issue for me is I never have enough money to put. I mean, I would love a lot of money, and I'd disperse it out. You know, like 5% of my kind of overall investment portfolio. I'd like disperse it out 5% to 20 different things, because I like to have a lot of different fingers in different pies. And the great thing about all these different things is vast majority of these things are all passive, you know, so you just literally buy them. You buy silver, you buy banknotes, you buy Lego, you buy a stock, you buy a whatever else it is. You invest in crowdfunded property or whatever, and then it's passive. You just literally say, right, that's that done. If you are invested in dividend stocks or proof of stake cryptocurrencies, you then just collect your dividends or your stakes, you know, just by a click of a button, really. Again, if you're on Rate Setter, which is peer-to-peer lending, or the other one, Funding Circle, or Lending Club is another one. If you're on any of them, again, it's just a click of a button, get your interest out every month or every 3 months or whatever it is. I know with Rate Setter, it's every month. But yeah, so there's so many different things. I think that, I know I've not got money, but I feel like if I put my head in the mindset of someone who's got a little bit of money, I think it's actually harder for someone with money than it is to invest than it is someone like me who's got no money, because they've got a lot more to lose. You know, if you think someone's got 500,000 or 1 million to invest, they're going to be like proper scared to invest that money, because, you know, yeah, they could do it on like a pretty low risk thing, maybe like an index fund or something like that, or maybe some sort of bond, I don't know, something like that. That's the two things I've not actually looked into with investing, like index funds, bonds, that sort of stuff. But maybe you could do something like that. That might be a little bit lower risk. You know, or something like a tracker fund. I think there's things like that called tracker funds, and all that sort of stuff anyway. Or like a blue chip stock. They could always do that, but again, it's still, you know, I'd still be bricking it still to invest that kind of money, you know. So, yeah, it's like, for me, I've not got much to lose, so I'm like, yeah, I'll throw a bit in this, throw a bit in that, throw a bit in the other. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, then that's fine, because I've got my active income source that essentially gives me my money anyway. And as I mentioned before, it's always worth keeping that active income source, because if those investments go down, you've got your main income from this active income source, in my case eBay and Amazon, and then if your investments work out, great, and then you can get loads of passive income from that. If they don't work out, then no hard feelings, because you've got your active income here. And the key with all this is, that I've not even mentioned yet, is not investing loads and loads of money. Don't invest money that you need to pay HMRC tax with. Don't invest money that you need to pay bills with. Don't invest money that's gonna, you know, put your life at risk or anything, in terms of, you know, getting evicted from a house or something like that. I don't know, but that is the key here. Don't invest like tons and tons of money that basically you can't lose. Like for me personally, I have a bank account for my tax each year, and that does not get touched. I might put more money into it over the year, but it doesn't get touched. No money comes out of that unless it's for tax. So I think that that's kind of something to highlight as well. But anyway, I'm going to look in the chat, because I've just rambled so much there. Right, where are we? I bet there's so much chat down here. Facebook is still the most popular form of social media. 2 billion users, 2.2 billion users. Insta is third at the moment, but creeping up. Well, Insta is owned by Facebook, isn't it? So that's pretty decent for Facebook, really. Mel, what's the difference between in-laws and outlaws? Outlaws were wanted. Oh, very funny. Oh, I got that. That didn't take me long to get that, actually. If you have 10k, then you have money. Well, currently I have about 4,500 in crypto. I'm not bragging or anything. That is, to me personally, that's not enough. Because again, I have this complex that I've discussed at counselling, where I can't ever feel like enough is enough. And that is very true for a lot of business people, entrepreneurs, that sort of stuff. It's a very, very common mindset where you constantly feel like you've not got enough. But I've got that in crypto. I've got like a measly couple of £100 in stocks or whatever. I took like most of my money out of stocks for crypto. And then I have, you know, a few hundred in weight setter, not a lot. But I want to build that up a little bit more. But the big thing I want to do, like I have a lot of passion for doing, is this music investments, you know, like music royalties. So as mentioned before, you buy the rights to a song. It's big money investing, you know, these auctions go for 10, 20, you know, up to 100 grand for some of these rights for a song. And then they will give you royalties. I think it's based on how many they sell per year or something. And, you know, you might invest 25 grand, but you might be getting 5 grand a year passive income. So that is a really good return, you know, like on a year by year basis. That's like 20% or whatever. Now, that is subject to change, or I would imagine that's subject to change, because popular tastes in music change, and then they might not get as many sales. Your royalties might go down over time. But if you choose your investment right, you know, if you choose it wisely, then I think you could do pretty well with that. You know, I think you could get some great money with that. So that's something I really want to do, but I need to wait for a crypto bull market, which is going to be, to be honest, everyone's saying like, oh my god, it's going to come around the corner and it's just going to take off. You look at the charts. We just had a massive run up like that, and then we've come down to here. Do you really think it's going to go up from here? No, because if you've got a chart like that, and then it goes down to here, and then it goes back up like that. That's not particularly healthy. What you'd want to see is like it steadily increase. Or if it goes up like that, you'll want to see a long period of consolidation, and then it goes slowly back up. So it's like, wee, like that, opposed to wee, like that. It's just, so I really do feel like we've got a bit of a way to go in the crypto bear market, but then when we come out of it, maybe early next year, maybe mid next year, I'm not sure, then, you know, it might be sooner, it might surprise us, but I'd rather it have a more consolidatory period, because then that'll build some more price strength confirmation, and then when we come back down after the bull market, we can then, you know, kind of reach a support level that's decent, you know. But yeah, so without like going into that too much, basically after that, then hopefully I'll have a good bit of money to invest into the music rights, and then I'll put a bit more money into Rate Setter. I'll put a little bit more money into, what was the other one? Oh, Property. I think it's called Property Moose, the site I'm looking at, where you crowdfund different properties. Gets you about 6 to 7% a year, which is, I believe that's net return. I don't think that's gross return. I think that's a net yield, net percentage yield. So yeah, I'll probably do that. I'll probably take a little bit out from a deposit on my own house, obviously, maybe 3, 4, 5 grand out for that. And then the rest of the money, if I've got any left after all that, I will basically put back into crypto once we enter the next, well, once we're down right here at the next bear market, so then I can get the best deals. Then I put that money back in, ride the wave back up again, then I can sell out again and do it all again and build up my investments that way. Oh God, it's so hard, isn't it? It's so, oh. No wonder people don't invest, because it's like all this inside your mind. It's like, boom, you know. No wonder people just like, you know what, we're just going to put it in a bank, nice and safe, nice and easy. I get that, you know, I get it, but for me personally, I like risk. I like going out there. I like trying things. I like doing things. And it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of reading up. It takes a lot of understanding. It takes a lot of time, you know, to do this, but I love it. I do love it. It's you know what investing is to me? I said this to my mum the other day, actually. Investing is my form of gambling, because you've got that high risk factor. So you're like, oh, you know, this could go up like crazy amount, or it could go down to zero. You've got that risk factor, but in one way it feels more like intellectual in a sense. Like gambling, I feel like still has this stigma attached to it, where it's like, you know, maybe for less intelligent individuals, kind of, and that's just a stigma. That's not me saying it. I'm just saying that feels like there's still that stigma attached to it. Whereas, like, investing, although it's, you know, it sounds intelligent and all that, actually all it is gambling, but it's just for people who want to feel like they're intellectual or whatever. Really, it's kind of just gambling. I mean, you think of it. Putting money into a stock, yeah, you could say, you could give me all the technical analysis of the charts you want to give me, you could give me all the different financial reports you want to give me. At the end of the day, you're still speculating to some degree. Is that price going up or down? The financials, the technical analysis can help aid your decision on whether it's going up or down, but there's still a speculative angle in play there, you know, at play. So yeah, I just think it's kind of investing for those who want to feel like they're intellectuals in one sense. It's got like kind of an egotistical side to it in one respect. But anyway, I'll quickly go up the chat. I've missed out on loads of chat, so I really do apologise. I'll get to it now. I won't talk any longer. I'll actually just go up the chat for a bit. I apologise if I'm going to be quiet for a second. I'm just going to be reading stuff. I'm not really into long-term savings. I worked in financial services for a long time, but I prefer short-term saving for a goal rather than savings which just end up being passed around in inheritance. Very true, very true. I mean, this is another debate on whether you can, whether you should spend it. I mean, you know, like once you've got to a certain level, should you spend it? You know, because essentially we're not going to live forever. We want to be spending this money that we've made. So that is a brilliant argument actually, because we, you know, it's all well and good saying, right, I'm going to get to this sort of income level and then I'm going to live off the income that provides. But at the end of the day, could you then get to 60? Yes, you might have 3, 4, 500,000 in all these different investments, but you know, you might not have lived because you won't have spent that money. You know, essentially that money might just get passed down. So yeah, it's a really valid argument, Matt Shelster-Rooney. It's definitely something to think of, you know, and that's something for me to think of, because I always feel like I've got this hoarder mentality of I just want to get more and more and more and then keep it locked up so I know it's safe. But will I ever live? If if I'm not spending that money, will I ever live? So there is two arguments to this, really, on whether it is even a good idea just to invest it. My goal is 6k per month, every month, passively. 6k per month! My God, that really is shooting for the star. 6k per month, every month, passively, through property investments. That would equal to a net worth of 1.2 mil. Not important to me. And set up a non-profit for the protection of animals. That's brilliant, because that's the thing for me, like, I always think about this money, and that's exactly what I think, like, what I would do with that money is, I feel, right now, I feel as if I would want to set up some sort of charity, or set up some sort of foundation that would help other people. I mean, for me personally, because I have a mental health illness, I probably would create something centered around mental health. You know, if I ever came across a lot of money, you know, if ever I, well, bit of a wrong turn of phrase there, if ever I worked to get a fair bit of money, then yeah, I would hope that I would actually set up some sort of foundation, or something that would help other people with mental health issues, because I've suffered for quite a while with them now, and it's something that I feel that I would kind of owe. You know, because I may get to a place of having a lot of money because of my grit and determination of trying to get out of my mental health issues. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, in some respect, I kind of owe it to the people, you know, not to the people, but to myself, to actually give back to the people who are also suffering with mental health issues, and maybe help them get out of them, so that then they can do amazing things with their life. So I do feel like, yeah, I mean, like, for me personally, 1 million, 2 million, it doesn't, like you've said there, it doesn't, like, matter. Like, I'm not one of these people who go, oh, I've got 1 million, brilliant. I will still wear the set. How long have I worn this shirt? This shirt is, like, really old. I have all my old hats. I'm going to be if I get rich, I'm going to be one of those rich people who doesn't ever change the clothes, or, you know, like, I don't mean like I'll stick with the same pair of jeans or whatever for 10 weeks in a row, but I mean what I mean is that I won't, like, buy fancy clothes or anything. I just feel like I'm always going to be that same person. It's not going to necessarily change me, but it is going to impact the world, or I would hope it would impact the world, me having money, in a positive way, because then I can set up these charities, set up, you know, things that I want to do as well. Like I talked about on previous Thursday talks, self-employed spa, you know, my emporium is obviously a big one, things like that. So it's interesting to say, but 6k per month, that is an impressive goal. But honestly, Tom, I really think you could achieve that, no trouble. With the amount of dedication you put into eBay, if you put that into, you know, into the property market and stuff, you could easily achieve that. I was going to use Insta, but I soon found out that it tells everyone with my phone number that I had an account, and many people I know wouldn't get Reselling and believe it's bad. Oh, I didn't know that. Tells everyone with my phone. Oh, right, that's interesting. I didn't actually know that. Luckily, I don't have many phone numbers in my phone, though. Earth to ads. I know I was going off on one again. I apologise. Oh, it's just gone down to the bottom. Sorry, I'll have to come back. Anyway, I'll have to go in a bit, because, well, we've got 10 minutes left, actually, yeah, haven't we? Ads is just ads. Well, here for the good times. I'm a firm believer in investing in your house long term. Values always go up. Very true. That's why with the money from investing, I would certainly put a chunk of it to a deposit on a house. I just, the only thing that maybe property investing is sexy, but for me it isn't. Like, for example, I'll give you this analogy. You might not like this. You might have to scrub this mental image out of your mind, but cryptocurrency is like putting, I don't know, who's very attractive? Who's a very attractive woman celebrity? I don't know. But let's just say, I don't know who's attractive. because like Taylor Swift isn't that attractive to me. But I know, well, let's just go with Taylor Swift, right? It's like, cryptocurrency is like Taylor Swift dressed up, you know, in some sexy lingerie or whatever. Property investing is like dressing up Danny DeVito in some, you know, sexy lingerie. It's just not as sexy. Like, crypto is like, you know, the volatility's there, it's sexy, it's fast, it's cool. Property investing, it's like, yeah, you get a building. I mean, it just doesn't excite me as much. But, you know, it's not to say that it's not a good investment. I'm not saying it's not a good investment. It's a brilliant investment. And that's why it doesn't have that sex appeal for me. Because it's like, it's just like, right, this is solid, this is safe. I want an investment that can get me going, you know? You're like, yeah, let's invest in something that could make me 50 times my money, but also at the same time it could make me bust, you know? But like property investing, which I might do at some point, is just like the safe option. Like, right, okay, yeah, I'll do this, and it's fairly, you know, it's like, yeah, it's a great investment, solid investment, brilliant. But I mean, maybe 10, 20 years ago it had more of that appeal. But for me as a younger person, it's just not it's not getting me going as much as an investment. And that's why so many young, like, I don't even know the statistics, but I would say like 70% of the people in crypto are under 30 or under 35. Because for one, it's all technology based, and you need to have wallets on your computer and all that. And you need to know how to use computers somewhat, especially if you're doing mining. But at the same time, I think it's just that level of volatility and that level of sexiness that comes with it as an investment for the returns you're going to get. But, you know, in property investment, I have to say, despite my moaning about it, it is a very, very solid investment. I would encourage people to do that one if you can, if you've got the money, because it is a solid investment, and it would be something I would do, you know, if I first made a bit of money out of a more high-risk investment. So I make a good bit of money out of a high-risk investment, then I put a good portion of that into a property, and then keep a portion of that in the high-risk investment. So the high-risk investment then becomes my, you know, little bit of flutter on the side, a bit of a gamble, and then my property becomes my, right, that's my stable income. But I'm just not ready to be stable. I want to be sexy. I want to be edgy. I want to be high risk at the moment. I'm young. I don't want to be conservative. You know, and that's fine, because I am young. I can do that. But, you know, if you're older, if you're maybe in your 30s, 40s, maybe you've got young children, you need to be more conservative. And that's where things like, you know, blue chip stocks, index funds, all these kind of things, property investing, those more solid investments come into play more. But at the moment, I'm trying to do the high-risk things, get my net worth up there a little bit, then I can put that money into low-risk things for when I have kids, so then I'm not worrying about, oh my god, I've got all my money in this high-risk thing. So I'm just kind of playing, I'm trying to play investing like a game. I'm trying to play it to make my money work the best for me in one respect. But that being said, I could lose it all. You don't know. This is the sexy side of it. This is why I love it. But anyway. Well, I don't love it. Well, I do love it. I mean, I don't love the fact I could lose my money. I mean, I love the thrill of it, you know. You need to get property and future sorted, then dabble in crypto if you must. See, everyone, like, Sean, it's everyone over the age of, like, 40. They absolutely fit. It's the saying from Oscar Wilde. The young know everything, the middle-aged suspect everything, and the old believe everything. So, like, you know, the middle-aged, they're all like, oh, God, no, that must be some sort of weird, scammy thing. And then the young think they know it all, i.e. me on here, coming on, spouting all this knowledge or whatever, saying, I know this, I know that, all that sort of stuff. And then the old will believe everything. So if I start spouting all this knowledge about all this stuff, or my mum and dad spout all this knowledge about how it's some sort of weird thing, you know, scammy thing, then my grandparents would believe either one of us. So, yeah, it's very true. I love that saying. That's probably one of my best sayings from Oscar Wilde. The old know everything, the middle-aged suspect everything, the old believe everything. And the weird thing is, he actually died at 46, so he didn't even get to be old, which is quite amazing considering that he didn't actually get to experience old age, yet he knew life, you know, in that respect, in that sort of philosophical way to such a degree. It's kind of like humbling to think that one man could know that without actually going through, sadly, you know, without going through his entire life, you know, the entirety of his life. I'm 27 and want the stability. There we go, you see, you got 5 years on me, so I'm like 5 years back, so I'm like a little bit more, you know, racy, like that. But obviously you've got kids as well, haven't you, Tom? So that's another fact. Like, if I had kids right now, I would not be... I would still be in crypto, but I'd be like 500 quid in there, not loads of money in there. But at this moment in time, I've not got kids, I'm happy. Let's see what we can do, let's see how far we can take this kind of thing, and I don't know. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there in a second. I think I've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. Ads, a couple from Northwich just posted on Facebook. They're looking forward to receiving a major new investment soon. Something to do with them finding out their son has money to burn, apparently. Ads, a couple from Northwich. So what, has that son... has their son made a lot of money in some sort of other investment or something? Is that what you're saying? Is that the famous Sean Longley? Yeah, it is, Martin. He seems to have popped in the chat. Ads, invest in new underwear. Girls appreciate... Oh, come on, for God's sake. Bloody hell. Anyway, the Queen in sexy lingerie. I know that'd be... Oh, God. Anyway, got to shoot, guys. Peter says. Oh, I think he already saw that one. Ads is magnificent. I'm only doing what I'm doing. I don't know. I mean, it's funny though, because I often think like how I'm gonna be, you know, when I'm 50. Like, I'm either gonna be. I reckon I'm either gonna be broke or I'm gonna be fairly well off, and I'm gonna strive to be fairly well off as much as I can. But I think it's going to be either one of the two. I don't think I'm going to be in this sort of middle ground, because I don't think I can do this middle ground. Like, at the moment, I'm not like... I feel quite broke, even though I'm not broke. But I feel like I'm quite, you know, I've got investments, I've got money in the bank, all that sort of stuff, but I still feel quite broke. So I think to myself, right, I've got pretty much nothing to lose. So why don't I shoot and try and get somewhere, kind of thing. So I feel like I'm, you know, in 30 years, after more and more knowledge and more reading and more doing stuff and practically doing things, and probably a lot more lost money as well in the process, I feel like I'm going to be either, as I say, I'm going to be wealthy or I'm going to be just still broke. I don't know why I think that, but I have this weird belief, though, that I will... Like, when I'm older, I will be well off. I don't know why. I just imagine myself, like, in a study with, like, a nice mahogany, you know, like, Victorian mahogany desk. You know, maybe looking out the window with glasses on, you know, nice bigger glasses on. A nice tweed jacket on. Lovely little shirt on, all that sort of stuff. And then I'm just in my study writing, and then one of my kids comes in who's just got back from university, all that sort of stuff. And that's how I imagine myself. And I always imagine myself in a fairly nice house. And I do a lot of that. And I don't necessarily 100% believe in the law of attraction. It's just how I've always been. I've always liked imagining what my life will be. I've always liked imagining about sci-fi stuff, about Doctor Who, about, you know, all this, like, aliens and dinosaurs and crazy, you know, mythical creatures and stuff. I've always loved that, like, that part of my imagination, and it kind of, I just think like that. I think like I always see, at different points in my life, I see how I want to be, and I think to myself, right, well, if that's how I want to be, how am I going to get there? And I don't necessarily, as I say, I don't necessarily 100% believe in the law of attraction. It's just something that I do, like, naturally. Like, I just manifest these things and then think, right, you know, can I get there? How can I get there? Just like how I've always been from, I don't know, like 15 or something, 14, 15. It's just odd, really. But I forgot, I've lost my train of thought now. I don't know where I was going. But anyway, yeah. So I'll quickly go down the chat, and then we might have one more question or something, and then I'll get going. Ad Robinson, def be good for you to work towards knowing when you have enough. Yeah, it is. Oh, have you changed your name, Shelsteruni? Shelsteruni eBay Queen, that's awesome. Yeah, it would. That's what I'm doing in counselling at the moment. And I will touch on this in the podcast, because this is what the podcasts are more for rather than Thursday Talks. But, you know, and if you would like to watch a podcast, little plug, it'll be on again on Saturday. Feel free to watch the previous ones that I've done. I basically talk about reselling from a mental health standpoint, rather than from, like, maybe just a normal person standpoint, you know, just an everyday kind of standpoint. So it's quite interesting if you haven't already seen it, but, well, listen to it, not seen it. But yeah, that's something I'm working towards in counselling. Like, I just don't think in my mind like I can have, it's weird, it's hard to explain. Like, I just want to go and go and go for the biggest goals possible, even if it's not directly what I want to do, but I'll try and go for the biggest goals possible just to impress other people as well. So, like, it might not even be something I really, really want to do, but if I could say, for example, like, I'd love to walk the world, or I'm going to walk the world, and then I go for it and I achieve it, then I can tell everyone, look, hey, I walk the world. You see what I mean? It's kind of like, it's an all or nothing thing. Like, I'll do it or I won't do it, and I'm probably going to do it kind of thing. That's the thinking I go through. And then when I've done it, my motivation for doing it isn't necessarily just myself. It's more other people. What other people are going to think? Like, are they going to think that's a brilliant achievement? And then I just imagine all of the people in my life saying, oh my God, you've achieved so much, da da da. Because that means other people's opinions, again, this is something we've touched on in counselling, other people's opinions mean far too much to me and are a validation source to me, much less than my own opinion. So I don't validate my own opinion or rate highly my own opinion as much as I would say, for example, yours in the chat, Shelsteruni, or Sean's, or South London Resellers, or whoever's in the chat there, you know. So it's kind of, with me, I have to do these big goals because that's the only thing that's going to really impress everyone, and I need to feel like I've impressed everyone because that makes me feel like I've won, I've done it, I've completed life, I'm happy. So yeah, I'm trying to come to terms with that and make myself smaller goals, you know, think to myself, right, I'm going to achieve this, and then I'm going to go on to achieve this, then I'm going to go on to achieve this, and then I may go on to achieve this larger goal. However, I only want to achieve that larger goal if it's something that I want to do from deep inside myself, not just to please other people. The walk in the world thing that I've mentioned quite a lot, I kind of feel like there is a part of me that would like to do it. However, I think there's a bigger part of me that just wants to do it to say, look, I've done it, I've walked the world, look at my amazing achievement kind of thing. And I know that sounds very egotistical, and it kind of is, but it's kind of just the way my brain works as well. It's like my personality type. It's something that I don't necessarily like control. It's just like something I do. It's just something I've naturally, it's like a habit a habit that's formed over many years. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there. I won't, as long as you're not licking my window, I won't tell you the story of the time. Yeah, I won't tell you the story of, yeah. Anyhow, I'm not going to tell you that. It's funny. It's funny. Yeah, but there was a time, I'll just say this, there was a time I used to do dares, and I wouldn't really back down on dares. So that'll give you an idea of the things I kind of got up to. But I don't know whether that was one of them, but yeah, we'll leave it at that anyway. Ad Robinson, I've already read that. Sorry, right, there's no more chatting there. You have a vision that you are working towards, Ads, good for you. Step 1, leave home. Yeah, that's a big one. I know, it's a big one. And that's going to be a massive hurdle for me because it's going to be so hard, the leaving home, you know, and doing that and flying the nest. It's like, for everyone else, it seems very easy. Like, other people are just like, they want to get out of their parents' lives. I don't have that want. I like it here. I'm comfortable here, but at the same time, I'm never going to grow up. I'm never going to achieve all these goals without flying the nest, without doing that, without taking that leap of faith and taking that jump. I mean, one part of me would like to maybe you know, have a partner or something to be able to do that with, so then it's not as much, I don't feel like it's as much of a jump. But I can't really wait for that, because if I wait to have a partner, it just might never happen. The act of actually buying the house and moving in might actually get me a partner, because let's say I move to a different area, and I've taken that leap of faith and jumped in at the deep end, moved to a different area, and then I go out for a walk one day, bump into someone, get chatting, and over the course of a few months they may become my partner. The actual reason of me actually moving out could create the timeline that actually gets me a partner. So I can't necessarily just wait and for a partner to come to me. I've got to try and do something with my life, so that then things will manifest around me. Oh my god, I sound like I really do believe in this law of attraction stuff, but honestly, it's just what I do in my mind. I've never really believed in it. I just do it. I just have this weird thing in my mind that I've done that. I just do that. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Sorry, I'm rambling now, so I apologise. And that is why when it's time, it ain't going to be more comfortable to stay at home for my girls. That's brilliant. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you very much. Oh, Jamie Kenley, you should only be your own critic, ads. Don't worry about anyone else. It's very easy to say that, but it's so hard to think that in my mind. Like, for me to actually register that and to get out of that mindset, you have to physically, well, not physically, but you have to mentally change and challenge your own mindset to then get to a place of accepting that the things you do are good enough for you, and it doesn't matter about anyone else's opinion. So it's quite a hard thing to do, but it is something I'm working on. It's something that I know I'm gonna reach that place, because I feel it. I can feel that I'm going to reach a place of being more accepting of just the things I do, rather than what other people think of the things I do. So anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you. You sound like an old person. Is that for me, Sean? Yeah, but you know me. I've always been. Some people have said wise beyond my years, and I really thank people for saying that. But it's just how I've always been. You know, if people want to, you know, claim that I am wise beyond my years, then brilliant. If people think I'm an idiot, or that I do too much, or that I don't do enough, or whatever, that's fine. Well, there you go, you see. I've kind of just accepted that I don't really care about what other people think. So, in a way, I can kind of do it. You know, I can kind of break that cord between what other people say about me and what I think of myself. So, yeah, in a way, I suppose I'm already working through it. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. I won't ramble any longer. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget, podcast on Saturday. I will have a sales update recorded. I really need to get one out. I apologise. I've been working hard on eBay. I need to get back to listing. So yeah, and I've got an auction haul coming in on Friday, tomorrow. So hopefully I'll scrape a few haul videos out over the next few days. I'm not promising loads of hauls because I need to get on and process it. But I will try and get a couple of haul videos up, because I know it's been forever since I did a haul video. I've not been to a car boot in ages. I've just been doing auctions. So yeah, anyway, leave it there, guys. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. See you very soon.